This is Amy Gray-Cunningham, and you are listening to the Butterfly Kisses podcast, a journey of spiritual transformation. It has been my pleasure to speak with some amazing people who have had profound spiritual awakenings. Throughout these conversations, may you experience a life filled with joy, love, and personal growth. Now let's get going. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Butterfly Kisses, a journey of spiritual transformation. I am your host, Amy Gray-Cunningham, and this morning I am talking to two sisters, Stephanie and Natalie, who are both psychic and intuitive and also very much best friends. They have both come together to build a company called Immersive Spirit, where they are committed to using their skills to bring light and clarity to those in need. Our topic today, we're exploring psychic abilities, spiritual practices, and the transformative power of embracing your intuition and your spiritual journey. They have some unique skills that I think you're going to love hearing about. They talk about ghost hunting, spiritual cleansing, psychic work, and lots of other things. It's actually a very interesting conversation, and I know you're just going to love meeting them. So stay tuned, and they'll be up with us in just a minute. But I do want to also invite everyone, if you are in the Charlotte area, to please join me at Alara in Mooresville on the first and third Thursday of each month between 11 and 4 o'clock p.m. I am doing in-person mediumship and intuitive Akashic record readings. If you do join me there, you do receive a discount. And also you get to go shopping. They have amazing clothing line and also special different rocks. This is one that I did receive there. You're going to love it. They also have jewelry. I bought a ring there. You're going to love that as well. So please, if you're in the Charlotte area, North Carolina area, and you would like in-person reading at a discount, join me there on the first and third Thursdays of the month. Just go to alarainternational.com to book a reading. And also, if you're interested, September 27th through the 29th, I will be at Soul Harmony Fest in Huntersville, North Carolina. So please mark your calendars and join me there if you're going to be in North Carolina in September. You can go to soulharmonyfest.com for more information there, or to my website at amygraycunningham.com. I hope to see you then. But now, if you will please help me welcome Stephanie and Natalie. Thank you all. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Butterfly Kisses podcast. Today we have Stephanie and Natalie, and they are the dynamic duo. I've already changed their names. Sisters. They are the psychic and intuitive sisters, and they have a company called the Immersive Spirit. And they do everything, as I said earlier, with psychic and intuitive ghost hunting. They have tarot reading. We're going to get more into that too. They do spiritual cleaning and dream interpretations, which I definitely want to touch on in this interview. So welcome, Stephanie and Natalie, to Butterfly Kisses. I am so excited to have you. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Amy, for having us.
Yeah. And up at the top, like there's Stephanie up there, and then Natalie down at the bottom in the purple and blue. So, sisters, tell me, what is the likelihood of two sisters being able to see spirit, hear spirit, and do intuitive and psychic readings? I mean, coming from the same family, is that like normal? You like come from a long line of psychics, or
is not proclaimed? I don't, none of them proclaim, but the more we have conversations with family, the more they're like, well, yeah, I've seen that, or yeah, I've heard that. It's like, oh, okay. So we're starting to discover that there may be some lineage involved there, but no one's proclaimed, no.
Interesting. So how did you two find out that you had this ability?
Steph?
Well, for me, it was when I was 5 and seeing my grandfather. So we were at a babysitter's house. That's when we still lived in Idaho Springs in Colorado. And um, I was up taking our nap, right? My sister's 2 at the time. I'm 5. My family is going back to bury my grandfather. And it was crazy. I'm upstairs taking my nap or trying to in this attic, right? Because it's all the old homes in the old mining town, Idaho Springs. And I see this weird shadow go across the wall. And I look at it and I run downstairs. I tell the babysitter that's watching us at the time, she goes, "You are not getting out of your nap that way. You need to go back upstairs." I'm back up. I'm under the covers. I'm looking. I'm under the covers. I'm looking. Even as a 5-year-old, I look out the window and am trying to see, what's blowing around, do all these different things. And I hid and it just hovered there on the wall. It was years later that we had a conversation and realized that was the moment that they were at the grounds and saying goodbye to my grandfather. So, it was just like,
Oh,
oh, yeah, right. Grandpa coming to just check in and say goodbye. He probably did to Natalie too, but at 2, our memory retention's a little even less than 5. Um, yeah, and so for me, that was kind of when people would talk about ghosts, I'm like, what do you mean you don't believe? I mean, how could you not? They're right there. They're right here. I saw
yeah.
my grandfather. Um, but then it was in our right after college. Well, Natalie was still in high school there about that times, and she was getting ready to start college, that we really started going and saying, okay, so what else is out there? And talking about, and we explored Wicca for quite some time. We'll still look at aspects. I mean, everything's incorporated, right? Because we consider ourselves very much spiritual eclectics. So a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So you've got the moon work that we do, and we've got courses about um, practicing, setting your intentions around the lunar cycles. Um, but we also looked in Buddhism, because the practice of peace and enlightenment and just a lot of those different pieces and aspects there. Native American and the indigenous cultures, specifically for me, the Native American tribes, but being, looking at the medicine wheel and the great spirit and Father Sky, Mother Earth, getting into, so all of those ultimately are very similar. They're earth-based,
Mhm.
um, peace-oriented, nature respect, moon cycles, and it's just kind of gone from there. You fast forward to where we are now in this 25-year plus, without aging ourselves too much, uh, corporate life. I mean, we put things in a closet, and it's not that we did that for ourselves personally. We still were very much involved in our own spiritual journey, but in terms of what the world sees, we have been sisters in a software industry for several decades.
What did your family say when you, like, quote unquote, came out of the spiritual closet? What were
Uh,
their response when you said, I'm going to leave my job as a corporate exec here and just start this spiritual based self?
yeah. You know what? It's funny because when we first were talking in the 90s, it wasn't as um, appreciated, I guess, and loved and that type of thing, but we weren't going into business and making it our careers either. This time around, I mean, we're still doing our corporate jobs because let's be honest, the money is ridiculous and it's hard to walk away from those and benefits and so on. But as we took this on, it was very much oh, cool, tell us more, and sharing. And it was shocking. And I think Natalie can attest to this too. Cousins and friends and things that have come forward that I never would have thought even knew anything about tarot were like, you do readings? Can you? Wow, really? So it's been eye-opening, but it's really fun because we found a different connection with our family. And we're very, very close to our mom and dad. And it's been fun to watch the journey with them too, is to see how they've expanded. So
That's interesting. I same here with my mother, because she's starting to open up a little bit more about, what spirituality is all about, and being able to understand the spirit world a little bit better as well. So yeah,
yeah.
I like that. What about the corporate world? I mean, do you tell people, hey, I also do this on the side, or I'm a psychic intuitive, and do they go, oh, can you read my mind now? What am I thinking when you're
So
talking?
Yeah. Rarely do I mention it with anybody in the corporate world unless it comes up holistically, because if it comes up holistically, it was meant to come up. And that's something that we
Like
need
that.
to share. So there are a few people at work that are coworkers that do understand, and, they've been part of it. Interestingly enough, we were having a conversation with somebody and they had asked me if during meetings or something, the dead drop in. And I was like, no, I've never experienced that. Well, since they've asked, of course, now every once in a while, someone will come in and I'm just like, no, not right now. I'm on video cameras talking with people. Please, please don't say anything. So it's been an interesting journey for sure.
So you don't actually, if you see, grandma or grandpa around somebody, you don't say, oh yeah, by the way, your grandfather wants you to know that, the blue Ford that you're getting ready to sell is okay. Or something like that,
Never.
unless they ask you.
Yep. They have to ask me. They have to know that I'm listening for them on purpose. If people just show up, no, unless like it's something critical, like tell them not to cross the street at 1:00. Then I'll try to, put that into some type of conversation where, maybe you should be inside the store at 1:00.
Well, let me ask you this. Why don't you just say, hey, well, grandpa's telling me don't cross the street at 1:00?
Because not everybody knows, not everybody appreciates it. And I believe that everybody should have their sovereignty until they ask me to join them in that energy. So while it may present to me, it is not my place unless they're aware of what I can do. I'm like, if friends, are aware of something I can do, if something pops in, like my hairdresser, I'm like, oh, by the way, and I'll tell her something. She's like, oh, so cool. Great. Thanks for sharing. And then we move on. But she fully understands who I am.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love your boundaries.
We do have a lot of boundaries. Yeah. And it's important, right? You don't want to, not everybody is open to this. Not everybody wants to hear about what their relatives say. And, it's got your own credibility stamped on that too. So for us, it's about, were we invited? Have you shared your space? Have you shared your energy? And if not, it's none of our business.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. So when somebody comes to you for a reading, what can they expect? I mean, say I'm coming to you and I'm brand new. I don't know anything really about a psychic reading or an intuitive reading or a mediumship reading. And I'm coming to you for a mediumship reading and I want to talk with my son who's just passed away. What can I expect?
So first of all, expect that the reading to go the way spirit wants it to go. A lot of the things that you see on TV are highly edited for time and for message to get across. So it sounds very wow and experience based. Readings are wow. But oftentimes in my readings, I'm first going to allow spirit to pass on any messages that they think you need to know today that's going to affect your path. That may not be mediumship. It may be your son jumping right in saying, hi, mom, love you, as part of that reading. After all of that gets done, because spirit first, I work for the dead, really, not so much the living. I love the living, but, and then after those type of things, then I specifically try to tap in to who you're there for and try to pick up on their energy. Sometimes it's really disappointing for folks because the people they are there to hear from often don't show up. And there's mediums out there who will push that and maybe, push that boundary and fraud it out a little bit and say, yeah, they're here and they're fine. I won't do that. If they don't show up, it's going to be, they're not showing up right now because they love you and you're not ready for them to show up. So it can be a whole breadth of experience there.
Yeah. I like that you say I work for the dead, because a lot of times I feel the dead, those who have passed on, really kind of orchestrate who comes to us for readings.
Agreed.
And that is so spectacular when everything works out and everyone's open and spirit's able to get through the message and everybody knows that we really don't die. They're really not dead. They're really here.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Now, okay. So you guys do ghost hunting too?
We do.
the heck is ghost hunting? And to me, that sounds a little scary. So just kind of tell us a little bit about what ghost hunting is and why do we need ghost hunting?
So I'll go ahead and start, and then I'll let Stephanie jump in. I seem to be just chatting away today.
Go for it. I love it. I love it. Chatting.
So really, when somebody's like, we have a couple investigations coming up because people are inviting us into their place of business, their homes, because something is happening. So Stephanie and I always have the purpose. Again, we work for the dead. So our purpose is to go there and help them get free of whatever is happening. But also we want to be able to show people this is real. And so we can track it on our equipment. We can see their electric magnetic frequency change. So we like to show and do experiments with interactions that we can have, but ultimately Stephanie and I are there to try to clear that space and make sure everybody is where they should be, because everybody should be happily home and safe, including those in spirit.
So is it more energy that's there that people, I mean, like if you're having lights turn off and on, or the cabinet doors closing and opening and closing, or is it like poltergeist where the kids being, shut down the
I've never had a case. I've never had a case where somebody's been pushed or anything, but the one that we're investigating, it's either going to be this weekend or next weekend. There's something whispering in ears and people can't see them, and they're starting to feel them like all the time. Like there's a constant energy. No one can get calm. There's a lot of angst in between the people now because the behavior is changing. Doors are slamming, no one's in the room, lights are turning on, alarms are going off, the things that are just making people really, really uneasy. So we'll go in and we'll do some experimental work, do some K2 work, some Estes method stuff, or, for those of you who've seen ghost stuff. So we'll get all of that done, but then we're going to really sit with the energy and try to help that energy move wherever it needs to be to take it out of that space.
I heard of a ghost hunting story once where there was a pool, and I don't remember exactly what was going on in the pool, but there was things happening where like chairs were being overturned or something was going on in the pool, and they weren't quite sure what was going on. And it ended up being that there was a guy that had passed away that either lived nearby or had worked at the pool at one time and was still there because he liked the area. And he's in spirit, and he was noticing that the lifeguards were more worried about the girls in the pool than watching the kids, and the kids were in danger. And so he was trying to get their attention. Mm-hmm. And once they were able to figure that out, a lot of the extracurricular activities that were going on in the pool ceased. But he made it known that he was still going to be there because that was part of his duty, is watching over the little kids in the pool.
What a great message to pass on. And you made it very clear, because I was like, we need to move their spirit. That's not necessarily it. It could just be like that kind of message, which is amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, that's pretty cool, because I guess, we still have free will even in the spirit world.
Yep, absolutely.
Come and go as we please. But like my husband, he moves feathers and turns lights off and, does all sorts of things around the house. But I'm like, okay, thank you. So how can you tell whether it's something that you don't necessarily want in the house, or if it's a family member saying hello? Does that make sense?
How do we tell?
Yeah. How can you tell if it's an unwanted spirit, or a spirit just saying hello, or something's happening and you need to watch out for it?
So I think that's the line. And that's again where we work for the dead, because we come in and sit with the person and try to, I hate to attribute it. This is how it's coming to me. So I hate to attribute it like this, but I'm going to anyway. It's like dog trainers. Mm-hmm. They're actually training the people. They're not training the dog. They're training the people how to react with the dog. Yes. And so once we get that message from that spirit, we're training the people in their realm on how to behave with that. And it makes it easier for everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I heard another story too of a lady who didn't like the way the lady was decorating her house. Even though she's passed on, she can still consider it her house.
Right.
She didn't like the way she was decorating the house, and the lady that was doing the ghost hunting had to let her know that it was no longer her house.
Right.
And,
Had to be the liaison.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Maybe
you
don't
have
put
those.
orange up and
Yeah.
Right. I had a reading where she'd and this was a reading, it had nothing to do with the medium side, at least not to start. And ultimately she'd had some, she kept describing some things that were going on in this room and some different energies and all that. Cause then I was like, well, when we do these readings, and everybody's got a different way that they approach them, right? For me, we're grounding first, and we're spending some time putting up the shell kind of around us, this protective barrier. And then I'm inviting their spirit guides, their ancestors. I mean, whoever's got something to share, please come and be a part of this conversation. And the two folks that came through, one was a woman and older woman. And as we started tracking it down, I realized, come to find out, she'd bought these two new chairs. They weren't new, they were antique, but she'd bought these chairs, and the energy when she was sitting in those chairs was very different. And this is the woman who owned those chairs. And she was there to talk about the placement of the chairs and exactly what she thought about her owning her chairs and some of that. So now this is a very open person. Now she just spends time talking to her and thanking her for the beautiful furniture, and it's totally changed the dynamic.
So cool.
Yeah. So it's the little things and acknowledging that, right? As to what are they trying to say? Yeah.
It's not necessarily scary. It's just
No, it's just acknowledgement, right? I mean, we make things scary.
Yeah.
We do that to ourselves. If they're banging things around, or, and I'm not going to say that there's not evil in the world, or in the universe, because I do believe there is. But for me personally, when it comes to spirit and when it comes to those that have passed, they're just trying to get a message across. And sometimes they've got to be a little aggressive in how they do it because we're not paying attention. Like you said, the furniture in the pool, doing things like that, where it's like, pay attention. I'm trying to get your attention. And if I have to slam cupboard doors and throw your chairs around and make things break or blow up, then that's what I'm going to do, because you haven't heard the first 5 months of messages I've been sending you, where I started with a whisper, like Natalie was talking about, where I'm telling you gently exactly what I'm trying to get accomplished here. So we just have to listen.
That's a very interesting perspective. I love that, because they start out small and then they start growing and growing. And it's hard. One of the things that I try really hard to get across is, just because they've passed on doesn't mean that they're not right here. My husband always says he's just in the next room. So he can see everything and hear everything that's going on, and he knows what's going on. He's just in the next room. And sometimes he has to holler at me because I'm not listening. I've got the TV up to you.
Right.
It's,
it's a different way of getting our attention than what we're used to. You're not using Alexa to page somebody in another room. You're, or sending a text message. It's the light flicks on and off. It's, the dog running into a different room and barking at something that isn't there. It could be any numerous things. There we go. Number of things. But yeah, it's all about how we pay attention and what we're doing with those messages when we receive them.
Are you searching for a deeper connection with the unseen world? Well, then look no further. I am Amy Gray-Cunningham, and I invite you to explore the realms beyond the ordinary. As a gifted medium, I've spent years honing my abilities to bridge the gap between our world and the spirit realm. My unique approach to mediumship combines intuition, empathy, and a profound understanding of the unseen energies around us. Through a mediumship session, I can help you connect with your loved ones who have passed on, providing comfort, healing, and profound insights. Whether you're seeking closure, guidance, or simply a sense of peace, my mediumship sessions provide a secure and nurturing space for you to delve into the mysteries of the afterlife. Join me today on a transformative journey as I channel messages from the other side, offering validation, clarity, and a profound sense of connection to those who have crossed over. Book your mediumship session with me today. A typical session lasts about 50 minutes, giving us ample time to connect and for you to experience the power of a spiritual connection. So visit my website at amygraycunningham.com to schedule your session. Now get ready to unlock the healing that awaits you. How can people start to learn to pay attention to those messages? How do you help them learn?
I think, it's a lot of it because, like, I think of our coaching sessions or just intuitive practice in general. If you start paying attention to the things around you, if you are starting to spend time, whether it's meditation or some sort of quiet time, something that's reflective where you're really looking inward, you start noticing the little shifts around you, I think, more. And I think it's different for everybody. Some people are very, very open to that. Others, it's a hard, well, what did you notice? Well, I didn't notice anything. Well, if you really think about it, did this move? Did this shift? Did you hear anything, feel anything, smell anything? And they're, oh, well, there was the smell of, oh, okay. So it's just really analyzing that and breaking it down and thinking about our intuition. And are you really, really using all of your senses, right? Not just what we think we should see, where it should be obvious, or I can't physically hear it. It's like, yeah, but did you hear a little voice in your head? Was there something that stirred you?
So when you're working with people in like a life coach type situation, are you helping them to tap into their intuition and their psychic abilities, or what do you do with the life coaching situation?
It depends on what they are looking for. I mean, the most recent one that we helped with, hers was just about really, why can't I just talk to my guides? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? And it was just a little bit of guidance and a little bit of homework and just self-reflection. And I mean, she's wide open. And that's not us. That's just relaying messages. I mean, that's all we're doing. We're conduits, right? Whether I'm doing Reiki for somebody, whether we're doing the ghost adventures, whether we're doing readings, we're a conduit. And as long as we remember that we're not these special gifted, because we all have it. Everybody does. Everybody can do this. It's all a matter of, are you open to it? And are you hearing the messages as they come through and relaying them to people that need to hear them?
Can you explain for those who don't understand, one, what spirit guides are, and two, what Reiki is? Because you just said those two words, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
sure. Sorry about that. Yeah.
What those two
Yeah.
words are. So
Yeah. So spirit guides are, if you think about everybody's always thought about guardian angels throughout our life, right? How I look at it, my interpretation, and everyone has their own, is your spirit guides are kind of those teachers that will come in and out of your life. Your guardian angels, your angels are going to be there from birth. They may they might try to guide you or whatnot. Your spirit guides are your team. They're your spirit team that's over here someplace going, okay, that is totally the wrong path. So I'm going to throw a big giant boulder right in front of you, and it's going to make it as difficult as possible because you didn't listen to me when I told you to go this way. And then you might learn intuition, or or open up to psychic, or even becoming a better cook, whatever that might be, that they're there to kind of help you, nudge you different directions, and then they move on. And it's another guide. And you might have some guides that are there your whole life. You might have others that are just pop in and out. And it's fascinating as you learn more about them and just kind of talk to them. And think of it this way: as childhood, we have imaginary friends. This is your imaginary friend who's not imaginary, who is kind of hanging out in the background, but little kids had it right from the very beginning. And then we are taught to be cynical and taught to ignore that imaginary friend. And that's really what the spirit guides are, is that extra friend. Now, are you going to go around outside walking down the street just having this conversation with Joe? Probably not. But in your mind, are you kind of thinking about, all right, I feel you here. Why are you here? What do you want? What is it that I'm supposed to know right now? So it's not spirit guides. It's just literally having those conversations with God, with spirit, with source, with whomever that is. It could be angels that people are communicating with, but it's something that's not you, that's outside yourself, that is helping guide spirit. Reiki is energy healing. So if you think of like a massage where somebody's massaging your body, so with Reiki, we're massaging, think of it as massaging your soul. There is your chakras in your body. And then what we do with Reiki is we work to help align those chakras and figure out where maybe you're not balanced. So if it's your root chakra, for example, which is down by your butt, um, we're helping to say, okay, we're not grounding. You're not settled. You're not doing this. And we spend some time and some energy work there. Some folks just love a good all over Reiki experience, right? Give me head to toe, but hands off. And I do it distant. So we'll be on a Zoom like this and we really get into a strong connection and then you'll feel it. I mean, I've not had anybody yet where they haven't said, oh my gosh, I can actually feel, because I'll ask, where was I? And they'll say, oh, I felt you here, here, and here. And I'm like, exactly. And here's what I did when I was in that spot and why I did that. So it's an energy healing tool.
That's really cool. Where did you guys learn how to do that?
I had my certification as a Reiki, so I'm actually a Reiki master teacher, so I can teach Reiki as well. And you get that through other Reiki certified, whether it's an actual institution or type of thing. My teacher, is her name is Stacy Nestor, and then lineage from there. So to her teacher and where she's at, which is on the East Coast and so on. So what I practice is Usui Reiki, and because there's different practices of it depending upon kind of what exactly you're visioning, because there are symbols and things that I'm imagining and different things that I'm doing while I'm going through the practice.
That's really cool. Natalie, do you do Reiki as well?
I do not do Reiki, but there is the one thing I kind of wanted to key on. I think the toughest thing when we're working with somebody who wants to go down this path and open up is teaching people to give themselves permission to get rid of all of the stuff they've learned that this isn't real. And I think that's really hard for everybody to go inside and remove those little nudges from mom and dad. They're like, oh, there's nothing under the bed, or those type of things. So
Why do you think it's so hard for us to do that? I mean, we come from the spirit world, so it should be just natural and easy to do. But why do you think it's so difficult for us as on the human side to just let it go and just be free?
yeah, and you wonder where that clicks off, because kids come and they are completely free and open to everything and can see and feel and just throughout time, their teachers, their mom and dad, their friends, everybody just turns them into something that can no longer hear or see, or at least their spirit that way. So it's undoing all of that work. And that takes a lot of personal perseverance. You have to really dig in and be, what is this for me? And it's not just saying, hey, I believe and I can see, because you really got to get rid of all of those things that you've learned yourself.
Was there somebody there to help you too when you started to come awake and realize that, oh, there's more to life than just this physical body and what I see, feel, and taste right here?
We've had quite a few mentors. We're with someone right now who's really accelerated us kind of on our path. And she has a great course. It's called the Sage Method, that really has these she has a great defined step structure. And which made a lot of sense for us because that's what we were practicing already. So watching others in that modality be able to achieve that way too. She's been a great person to listen to.
And I'll second. So with her, what's really been critical for us, I mean, when we got into this, no, we had no mentors. It was me and Natalie going, all right, well, we'll learn it our way, right? Find some books, read the books. Try this, try that, burn this, burn that, right? Whatever it was, we were giving it a shot. And then with, like she was talking about our latest mentor here, it's been putting it to words, and it's been stepping out of comfort zones, right? Because she'll say, okay, guess what? You're going to go do this, this, and this. And you're like, oh man, I don't want to. Okay. But it's great because it's giving us, we knew we wanted our business. We knew what we wanted to do. She has launched it in a different perspective where we are miles ahead of where we would be had we not connected with her. And it was an odd connection. Can we tell you how we still came across her? No. It's one of those, when spirit gets involved, forget about it. Everything's off, it's all on the table now. You just are going to have to go with it. It was a free course or something that she'd had. We were fascinated. Then next thing, we went in through the Sage method, and we were like, all right, lady, you're going to mentor us, and you're going to love it, because here we come. And she's the bomb. But going back to one of your other questions about, how we're screwed up as children, it's a programming thing, right? It's our programming body, as she would tell you. And it's a perfect term. A lot of people use your programming body versus your human versus spirit. Where are we in our realm? Our programming is taught to us, and I'll go back to Natalie's kind of use case earlier with training people on spirit. We're trained. We're trained, like, and our parents were trained, and their parents were trained. And it's not anything that anybody did wrong. But if you look at the book, The Four Agreements, and talking about, yeah, within that, just you're so programmed. And once you break out of that and recognize that I don't have to stay, I don't have to eat at 6 o'clock, I don't have to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Those are the little breaks, right? Then you kind of go, I don't have to go here. I don't have to believe that. I can, and it's a whole new world.
Yeah. Just awakening to the fact that there's more to life than just, going to work from 9 to 5.
Yes.
Putting the kids to bed, feeding the dogs. That
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole other world of colors and lights and guidance.
Exactly.
Sometimes I like to say my spirit guides are up there in the balcony saying, okay, pass popcorn. Amy's about ready to explode and do something really fun that's really going to screw everything up, but it's going to be fun to watch. So pass popcorn. She's going to learn a big lesson this time.
Right? I know. It was like, oh, good. Here comes the brick wall. Let's watch what she does with this. Yeah, how's she going to cut through that sucker? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Well, from each one of you, what is one thing that you want the listeners to take away from this conversation today?
To trust in yourself. When you feel something, trust your first instinct. Don't think it through. Whatever you're feeling in your gut, allow that to be the truth. Whatever you're seeing with your eyes, allow that to be the truth. Whatever you're hearing, just trust that that's what you're supposed to hear, and do that thing.
I love it. What about you, Stephanie?
On top of the trust, I would say, if someone tells you theirs is the only way, or there is only one right direction, or because there's a lot of people that are fake teachers, right? Theirs is the only way. There is no other. You have to see me. You have to pay me. I'm the only one that can give you this. Run away, because you will connect with who you're supposed to connect with in this industry. If you're looking for a reader, if you're looking for a healer, a coach, even us, as we're looking for people that we have do Reiki on us, or that we want to partner with on things, you trust your gut. And if someone tells you that theirs is the only way, or yeah, they're it, run like hell.
Yeah. There's so many different ways and so many different levels. And
yeah, there's so much stuff every time. God, Amy, I'm sure you know this, but every time it's like we open one door exploring something, and you open that door, and then you see another whole hallway of 6 doors on this side and 6 on that side. And you go, ah, crap. This is going to take me forever. And how cool is that? That this
yeah.
is where we get to spend the rest of our time in this body, just continuing to explore and to grow. I mean, every day you just go, all right, ding dong, that's new. I mean, I think about where we've come even in the last year, since really just launching with the business, and it's amazing. If you would have told me a year ago the things that were in my head this year and what I know, I would have laughed. I would have laughed. So I'm just psyched to see what's next.
Yeah. I started off always saying, okay, God, just show me a little bit more about who you are. And then this door would open. and then, okay, show me a little bit more. And then this door would open. And it's like, and things just kept growing and changing and they're still growing and changing. And I still, once I think I understand it, it totally changes again.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it's an ending process, which is what I love.
Yeah.
So I have one more question for the both of you to answer. And I was doing this in the last season, and I haven't done this here lately, but I want to do this again because I think it's really important. And a great way to kind of wrap up the session, especially when we're talking about spirituality and those in the spirit world. So if you have 1 hour to sit with someone, whether they are in this side of the veil or on the other side of the veil, who would it be? And what would you talk about for an hour?
Wow, that's a great question.
So I think a lofty goal, but the Dalai Lama, only
That
because
was my first thought. Yeah.
there is so much peace and enlightenment and trust and love. Just being in the energy for an hour would change who I am.
Yeah, the Dalai Lama. Yeah.
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 I mean, I guess if I'm
Chills.
the Dalai Lama is huge, right? That'd be like probably first choice. I think Jesus Christ. For similar reasons, right? To see what is the truth of what man has written from your story. And to ask those questions because ultimately all books are written by men. And so I would love to know the truths and have those conversations about his healing and what he did on this and what he continues to do, right? For people that are devout followers and believers and then coming back to this world. So I think that would be one. And then I'd probably on the side just want to interview Janis Joplin. I would love to.
She would be amazing.
Wouldn't she be fun? Talk about high energy and just craziness and what she did and the vibe and how she changed music and so on for women. I kind of want to talk to Janis Joplin too.
I think she would be fun. Yeah. That's a completely different perspective there. Jesus Christ and Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin, right? Very, very huge. But at the same time, you think about the followers, the things they did, the dying young, the yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not saying Janis Joplin is Jesus Christ. Don't get me wrong, please. But it's I
It'd
don't
be
know.
interesting conversations with both of them.
Right. It'd be a very
Yeah.
fascinating conversation. But I would love to talk to Jesus and just be like, what was it like to be the son of God? And
Yeah.
All of humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Coming back and saving the universe. I mean, what's the pressure like there? And what is and tell me more about the book. Tell me more about the Bible. What's hit, what's miss?
What do you think he'd say?
I think I don't know. I'm guess I am okay, so if it's just me, but I think he would say, everything is up for man's interpretation. Just like what we see in our daily lives, right? It's all up for interpretation. So what we've done with it, I don't know that he would just based on what we know in our human experience, he's a philosopher, right? I mean, yes, a healer and all the other things, but he's ultimately a kind, thinking man, and I have a feeling that it would be put back to me to ponder that question, but I'd still ask.
You're probably right on that one, Stephanie.
Right? Just guessing that I'd probably have to go and figure it out myself, but I want, as inquiring minds want to know. I think Janice would be more forthcoming in her answers. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jesus was always good, at least in his stories in the Bible, of answering a question with a question. So
Exactly. It's
Excellent.
reflective because it's interpretation and self-reflection. And ultimately, isn't that what spirituality is?
Very true. Very true statement. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, tell us how people can find you. I'm also going to have everything in the show notes as well, but tell us, I know you guys have a Facebook page. What is it called?
We on Facebook, you can find us at Immersive Spirit. Instagram, immersive_spirit. And of course, you can find those links when in doubt. Just go to immersivespirit.com. And we have our links there for our Facebook page, for Pinterest, when we go and put some things on Pinterest, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. So we'll have more on the YouTube channel. Is still a work in progress because we're finally putting, as Natalie talked about, our investigations and the things that we do for others on the paranormal side. We'll put those and make those available, but yeah, more to come.
Yay. I can't wait to watch those. Those are going to be fun to watch. So let us know when those are up. And we will definitely have all this information for everyone that is listening in the show notes. So please check that out. And
I should add, is it okay if I add one more thing on there?
sure, go ahead.
Just on the immersivespirit.com site, if you're in services, right, looking at our services, scroll to the bottom, we offer a free 15-minute consultation.
Oh, wonderful.
I mean, see if our vibe works with you. Talk with Natalie, talk with me. Because it could be that, like we said, not everybody resonates with everybody in spirit, and you want to find the right person who's going to be delving into your life with you. So please feel free to use that free consultation.
I love it. That's a great offering. So perfect. Well, everyone, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Natalie, for joining us today. And I encourage everyone who's listening to go check out their website at immersivespirit.com. Check out their services, give them a call for 15 minutes, talk with them. I know you will love them. They have been so much fun today. And I just thank you both for sharing your story and your insight and your experience with us. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Amy. Totally appreciate you having us.
Thank you for tuning in to Butterfly Kisses podcast, a journey of spiritual transformation. We hope today's episode has sparked new thoughts, offered fresh perspectives, or simply entertained you. Remember, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, and stay engaged. Also, share it with a friend. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing the journey of spiritual transformation. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.